Left wrist. Hold still, ma'am.
I said I get it. Just finish.
Cuff secure. You're under arrest for criminal mischief and trespass.
Watch your head.
Copy that, 2-4. One female in custody. Bringing her in.
You good?
I'm fine.
Karen wanted me to cut down the oak tree in my backyard. Not just any tree, a 100-year-old oak that my grandfather planted when he bought the house in 1924. She said it blocked her view and dropped too many leaves in her yard. When I refused, she took matters into her own hands and snuck onto my property with a drill and poison. That was her first mistake. Her second was not knowing that heritage trees have serious legal protection in our county. Her little tree-killing mission ended with handcuffs and a $5,000 fine. I'm Jennifer, 58 years old. I inherited my grandparents' house 3 years ago when Grandma Rose passed. The house itself is small, a 1920s bungalow, but the backyard is what makes it special. Right in the center stands this massive oak tree that my grandfather planted as a sapling nearly a century ago. That tree is magic. The trunk is so wide it takes 3 people holding hands to circle it. The branches spread out like an umbrella, shading almost the entire yard. My dad built a treehouse in it when he was 10. I had my wedding photos taken under it. My own kids learned to climb in those branches. The neighborhood's changed a lot over the years. Most of the old families moved on. New houses got built where gardens used to be. But that tree stayed, watching over everything. I'd been living there for about 6 months when the house next door sold. The new owner started renovations immediately, tearing down the old fence, adding a second story, putting in huge windows facing my backyard. That's when I met Karen. She showed up at my door on a Saturday morning, all smiles and holding a bottle of wine. "Hi. I'm Karen, your new neighbor. I love the property, but I wanted to talk about that tree." My stomach dropped right there. "The oak? Yeah, it's really overgrown. Blocks the view from my new master bedroom. Also, the leaves are a nightmare. I'm thinking we should just take it down. I'll split the cost with you." I stared at her. "That tree's been here for 100 years. She laughed like I'd made a joke. "Exactly. It's old. Probably dying anyway. I know a great tree service. I'm not cutting down my grandfather's tree." Her smile got tight. "Well, we'll see about that." The letters started 2 weeks later. First, a typed note in my mailbox about how the tree was dropping debris on her property and she wanted it trimmed back. I ignored it. Then she filed a complaint with the HOA, except our neighborhood doesn't have an HOA. The management company called me confused, and I had to explain that no, there was no rogue tree situation. Karen started documenting everything. I'd see her in her yard taking photos of every single leaf that fell on her side of the fence. She'd rake them into piles and take pictures like she was documenting a crime scene. One afternoon, she caught me getting my mail. "Those acorns from your tree dented my car," she said, pointing to her BMW. I didn't see any dents. "Karen, it's an oak tree. Acorns are kind of their whole thing. You're responsible for damages caused by your property." "I'm really not." She called the city next. A code enforcement officer showed up looking annoyed. "Ma'am, someone reported a dangerous tree." He looked up at the oak and actually laughed. "This is one of the healthiest mature oaks I've seen. Beautiful tree. So no violation. Not even a little bit. In fact, trees this old have heritage protection in this county. You can't remove it without special permits, and those almost never get approved." Karen must have been watching because she came storming over. "That tree is a hazard. It's going to fall on my house." The officer looked at her. "Ma'am, this tree is structurally sound and protected under County Ordinance 4-220. Have a good day." After he left, Karen's whole attitude changed. No more fake smiles. "You're being unreasonable," she hissed. "That tree ruins my property value." "Then you shouldn't have bought a house next to a 100-year-old oak." The harassment got worse. She'd blow leaves back over the fence onto my yard. She started running her lawnmower at 7 a.m. on weekends, right under the tree line, making as much noise as possible. She sent me a bill for $800 for yard maintenance costs due to tree debris. I threw the bill away. My daughter told me to just ignore her, that she'd get bored and move on. My son wanted me to put up cameras. I didn't think it would get that bad. Then I came home from grocery shopping on a Tuesday afternoon and found her in my backyard, standing at the base of my tree with a drill in her hand. That's when everything changed. She didn't see me at first. I'd parked in the driveway and walked around the side of the house because I'd seen my gate was open. Karen was drilling holes into the trunk of my oak tree. Small holes, about waist height, in a circle around the base. Next to her on the ground was a jug of something with a skull and crossbones label. "Poison. What the hell are you doing?" She jumped about a foot, spinning around. For a second she looked scared. Then her face hardened. "Fixing a problem you refuse to fix." I couldn't breathe. "You're poisoning my tree. It'll look natural. The old tree just died off. Happens all the time." She was serious. Completely serious. She'd snuck onto my property and was murdering a century-old tree like it was nothing. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone. "Get off my property." "Oh, what are you gonna do, call the cops?" She smirked. "Over some holes?" "Yeah. Actually, I am." I dialed 911 right there while she stood watching me. Her smirk faded when she realized I wasn't bluffing. She grabbed her drill and poison jug and tried to walk past me toward the gate. "You're crazy," she muttered. "And you're trespassing. Stay right there." The 911 dispatcher took it seriously as soon as I said someone was on my property poisoning my tree. She sent officers right away. While I waited, I did something smart. I took pictures. The holes in the tree trunk, fresh sawdust on the ground, the poison bottle she dropped when she tried to leave. I filmed her standing in my yard, angry and red-faced, insisting she had every right to protect her property. "This isn't your property, Karen. This is my yard. That's my tree. That tree affects my quality of life." All on video. The two officers who showed up were professional but clearly thought this was going to be a neighbor dispute over nothing. Then they saw the drill holes and the poison container. "Ma'am, did you put holes in this tree?" Officer Dawson asked Karen. She crossed her arms. "That tree is a nuisance." She refused to handle it. "That's not what I asked." "Did you drill these holes?" "I was taking care of a problem." The officers looked at each other. Officer Dawson turned to me. "Is she supposed to be on your property?" "No. I've never given her permission to be in my yard." "Ma'am, you're trespassing," he said to Karen. "And it looks like criminal mischief, possibly destruction of property." "It's a tree," Karen actually yelled. That's when Officer Chin made a call to someone in code enforcement. Apparently they have special procedures for heritage trees in our county. The code officer I'd met before actually came back out. He looked at the drill holes and went pale. "This is a protected heritage oak. Intentional damage to a heritage tree is a misdemeanor in this county, plus major fines." Karen's face went from red to white. "What? You just committed a crime," he said simply. "I watched them put her in handcuffs. I watched them load her in the police car. And I didn't feel bad about it at all. She tried to kill my grandfather's tree." The charges came through 3 days later. Criminal trespassing, criminal mischief, and violation of the county heritage tree ordinance. The prosecutor called me personally. "Mrs. Anderson, we take heritage tree cases very seriously in this county. The evidence is pretty clear here. Karen tried to fight it. She hired a lawyer who argued she was just trying to trim a branch and I'd overreacted. Then the prosecutor showed the video of her admitting she was poisoning the tree to make it look natural. The court hearing was short. Karen's lawyer tried to get the charges reduced, but the judge wasn't having it. "Miss Patterson, you trespassed on your neighbor's property and deliberately damaged a tree that's been standing since the 1920s. A tree that's protected by county law. What exactly is your defense?" "Your Honor, that tree was ruining my property value." "That's not a defense. That's entitlement." I had to bite my lip to keep from smiling. She was found guilty on all charges. The judge gave her the maximum fine, $5,000, plus restitution for the tree damage. The county required her to pay for a certified arborist to treat the poisoned areas and monitor the tree for 2 years. That was another $3,200. "You're fortunate this tree will likely survive," the judge told her. "If it had died, you'd be facing felony charges." Karen's face was stone. She wouldn't look at me. But the best part came 2 weeks later. The local news did a story on heritage tree protection because of the case. They interviewed me in my backyard, the oak tree in the background, talking about how my grandfather planted it and how it's part of our family history. Karen's mugshot was in the story. So was the detail about her trying to poison it over leaves in her yard. The comments online were brutal. "Imagine being this entitled. HOA Karens are getting out of control. That tree has more value than she does." Karen's house went up for sale a month later. The arborist said the tree would be okay. She'd only gotten poison into a few of the holes before I stopped her, and the tree was strong enough to survive. We treated it, filled in the drill holes, and monitored it carefully. By fall, the oak was leafing normally. You can still see tiny scars where the holes were, but they're healing. Karen moved out before her house even sold. I heard from another neighbor that her husband was furious about the fines and the publicity. The house sat empty for 3 months before finally getting bought by a young couple with 2 kids. I met them the day they moved in. I was upfront about the tree situation, showed them the oak, and explained the whole story. The wife laughed. "Are you kidding? That tree is the reason we bought this house. Our realtor told us about it being heritage protected. It's beautiful. Their kids play under it now. I hear them laughing in the afternoons, just like my kids used to." The tree company I hired to do health monitoring said that oak could live another 100 years easily. It survived worse than Karen. It survived droughts, storms, 100 summers and winters. Some things are built to last, no matter who tries to tear them down. I learned something from all this. People like Karen exist everywhere, people who think their convenience matters more than history, more than nature, more than other people's rights. And if you don't stand up to them, they'll bulldoze right over you. I could have let her bully me into cutting down that tree. Part of me wanted to, just to end the harassment. But that tree isn't just wood and leaves. It's my grandfather's legacy. It's a living piece of history. And it was worth fighting for. If you liked this story, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to hear more about people standing up to entitled neighbors and winning. Sometimes doing the right thing means making someone really mad. That's okay. The tree's still standing. Karen's not. That's justice.